Imagine you're in a helicopter with me and a Juilliard professor. We've got 10 minutes. The ship's going down. We got one parachute. We're going to send you out into the world. We need to give you everything that you need to know that we can fit in these 10 minutes for the ultimate tools kit to get you through a gig.
It's like an episode of Musical Survivor.
Yeah, I feel like we're the musical Bear Grylls.
Well, let's think. What would be the most important thing? Well, I think tool number one, potentially the most important thing to help you understand current music, is the idea of the chord matrix.
So think about the chord matrix as like your multi-tool. Is it your whole workshop? No. It's the thing that's going to get you through in a musical pinch.
Here you go. These are the 7 chords that we can find in a major scale. We call those a chord family or diatonic chords. They're the most important chords. You find basically every piece of music inside a family. And, you know, with the exception of the 7th chord that is very rarely used in this function, hasn't been used for about 150 years as dominant function going to C. You don't see a B diminished going to C.
And most music that we run into is not going to simply use just these 7 diatonic chords. We're going to probably have some chords from outside the key, and that's where this second group of chords comes in.
Each chord can have a dominant chord. A dominant chord is a chord with a 7th that is normally a 4th below or a 5th above. For example, G7 goes to C, A7 is the dominant of D minor, B7 the dominant of E minor, C7 is dominant of F, D7 the dominant of G, E7 the dominant of A. Oh, what about the diminished? Forget the diminished chord.
Get it out of our face. We're not using it today. So Henrique, a lot of people may object and say, guys, this is so dumb. We have the circle of fifths. It's a circle. You can visualize all of these relationships. And the answer is like, yeah, but that's when I'm working in my beautiful workshop. We're out in the real world. We're trying to figure out a way to quickly analyze how to get from one space to another.
If I had to create a list of all the most important things I would give to someone to survive the musical world, I think the circle of fifths will be probably the last one. You know, I think it's almost completely useless. I say this from experience. I would love to use the circle of fifths. I think this is way more useful.
Okay, so we've got this second layer of relationship, and then we can extrapolate even further and go to a third layer of relationships, which are like the relatives of the relatives. So we're talking the once a year barbecue with 100 family members.
So every dominant can have a dominant of its own. Now, this is already, like, just with this, you can explain a lot of jazz standards, especially the early jazz standards, because you see tons and tons and tons of progressions like this. Whenever you see a green chord being used, normally the following chord is going to be the red chord, the secondary dominant here, and then eventually it will lead you back to the chord of one family. So understanding this is already extremely important for you to understand more of the syntax of the majority of popular music that we see around.
And then if you're worried about memorizing this chord chart, don't worry. Click in our description for a free ebook that's going to give you this tool and the other couple of tools that we're going to give you before this helicopter crashes.
Good. Shall we go to the second one?
Yes.
Practice pivot chords. Okay. And I also like to call this a one-note exercise where you choose one note as your center note and you try to find all the chords that can fit that one note. So Tim, you want to give me a note?
Yeah, A.
So we write A right here. And let's try to come up with like what are the most simple chords that include the note A.
So like something where A is the root, third, or fifth. So let's do A major.
A major.
A minor.
A minor.
F major.
F major.
F sharp minor.
F sharp, good.
D major. D minor.
Okay, so just with this, the result is already pretty fantastic. And I like to keep the note on top. Yeah.
It's automatically cool. It automatically feels like it's got a ton of motion. We're able to modulate into a bunch of different tonal centers.
Exactly. Then you can find chords that are slightly more complex. I'm going to paint them write them in purple. For example, what if A is the 7th? You can have a
B flat major or B dominant 7, B minor, B half diminished 7. I mean, you obviously you can hear the list is going to go on and on.
So what's the point of this entire thing? It's training your brain to very, very, very quickly find all the possibilities of chords that you can in order to fit that one note. This can become one of the most useful tools to reharmonize on the spot. I was watching Pinocchio this week with my son, and I was thinking, when you... I mean, this is worth 10 minutes of a helicopter crash just to listen to this beautiful song. But you can say, when you wish upon a star, it's an A on top, you see? So maybe I can choose one of those chords. When you, maybe I can go, B sus.
Yeah.
Or when you wish upon a star, F sharp minor. Or, I don't know, B flat major. When you wish upon a star. So, like, if you're quick enough in thinking about all these possibilities, you can first compose excellent music, reharmonize on the spot any melody, and come up with these, like, creative harmonies. And also it allows you to compose music more in the style of, like, more like jazz rock, like Radiohead, Brett Maldel style.
This thing is about to crash. We're about to go aground. And if you enjoy this type of content, please subscribe. Henrique, we got time for maybe one more thing. What do you got?
Oh God. Okay. Well, I do think that nowadays it's absolutely important to know how to do good voice leading. The pathway that each note in a chord takes, as opposed to a vertical approach where you just look at the chord and play whatever chord you see. My recommendation is whenever you see a chord, if you're a pianist, to play that as an open chord instead of a closed chord. Instead of a tiny G major like this, I'm playing as an open chord. So the exercise that we always propose is starting with a chord and start to arpeggiate the chord, and then randomly, just as an exercise, start to change only one voice by half step up or down. Maybe change the middle, maybe the bottom, top, middle.
We've gone from standard harmony to the more modern sound, and now this is almost like a marrying of the two. We can make these major harmonic shifts without being jarred out of our comfort space.
Harmony is way more about the color and how you play than necessarily about how many extra notes you're adding.
Henrique, you and I are about to expire from this earth. Let's give them 30 seconds of wisdom. What do you got?
Oh God, let me think. Okay, technique is not about how fast you play, it's about how soft you're able to play. A true virtuoso can be measured by how soft they're able to play their instrument, not by how fast. Okay, that's good for trombonists.
Yeah, we don't do soft well.
No, number 2, memorize as much music as possible. If you're trying to learn a genre of music and you're having trouble, you must memorize 30, 40, 50 pieces. Memorizing 4 or 5 is not enough.
Find some good musical friends. Find a musical buddy that you can put ideas to, throw them back and forth, play together. Find somebody who's going to be your buddy. And if you find yourself in musical situations where you're intimidated or you're worried what people are going to think about your playing, you need to find new musical situations.
Imitate the people you love, the musicians you love.
These are just our tips with 10 minutes to teach you. If you have tips or things that you think are essential, put them in the comments. Let's share a bunch of wisdom here on the Jazz Lab channel. Till next time.